You know, I don't think I've seen a female freak before. If they're only male, the reason why is simple. They were created in a lab by the government, just like the blood plague. It's just another way for them to wipe us all out.
So anyway, McGurk had a question. Was it a conscious decision not to have female freak zombies? So no-ish. That's a... let's see here. That's what... Actually, it's a really nice representation of sort of why the video game industry sometimes has problems with representation, which is that a lot of the time, what you'll do is you'll plan to have both male and female of something. You'll start by making the male characters, and then you'll run out of time, and it's the female ones that got cut because you started with the male characters. And that was a mistake on our part. We actually did intend to have female freaks, and then we ended up with less time than we thought we were going to have. And so we had made the male ones already because now not just because we just assumed it would all be male characters, but because the freaks from the original game were all male. So like this stuff kind of cascades down from history. But yeah, we basically made replications of the freaks that were in the original game, which were all male. And then we planned to add female freaks afterwards and then ran out of time. And so that's a thing that the game industry in general has to work on, which is sort of treating adding female characters as sort of a nice to have on the end rather than treating it as sort of an essential thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's a mea culpa for we made the same mistake that I think a lot of game developers made, in that we sort of prioritize. We just did sort of quote unquote the default freaks, which were the male freaks, and they didn't get to the female ones. And that's a mistake that I hope we don't make in the future. There were other parts of the game where we did consciously avoid that kind of mistake, and I think we did a pretty good job in some places. That was one place where we didn't. Wizard wants to know why all the freaks are male. So I have talked about that before. In fact, I think I talked about it on the official State of Decay 2 stream. I can give you a short version of that, and then we'll wrap up the episode. Basically, it's a mistake that a lot of people make, which is they have the ambition to have a diverse cast of characters, for instance, to have male and female freaks, but they'll make the male ones first. And they'll do this with, there's lots of other, sort of dominant and marginalized populations where, I want to have a lot of diversity in this part of my game, but I'll make the majority characters first, or the sort of the dominant characters first, thinking, oh yeah, we'll start there, but then I'll add a bunch of others after the fact. And then when push comes to shove and logistical issues get involved and you run out of time, you end up only having the first one that you made. And so it's very, very easy to do something. So that's basically what happened. We actually did have ambitions to make male and female versions of all of our freaks, but we made the male ones first. And so when we ran out of time and resources, we had to devote them to other things, we didn't end up ever making the female freaks that we wanted to make. And so we had these, we were very proud of ourselves for having these goals of having the game's characters be more diverse. But then because we did things in the order of, dominant population first, marginalized population second, we ended up cutting all of the female freaks. So I've talked about that before, and it's a mistake that we made that I think, I hope, cross the fingers, we do not make that mistake in the future. Hopefully we learn from that lesson and basically, it's okay for some of your characters to start belonging to the dominant population, but also some of your earliest characters should be from other demographic groups, and have a nice diverse group of characters from the very outset. And if you start there, then you're not going to stumble into logistical problems leading you to make mistakes that you regret later on. So it's one of those things where it's like you can have the best intentions, but if you don't actually think it all the way through, you can make strategic mistakes that still ruin your best intentions and end you up in a place where you didn't want to be.
Thanks for watching. For mods, heroes, weapons, and more. Check out the link in the description down below. I'll see you in the next one.